Adebayo. As usual, we're here with a number of topics bordering on national affairs as we used to discuss on our program. First to be discussed on the program for today, call for Buhari's impeachment. To be recalled that some caucus in the National Assembly, after meeting with the Senate President, now getting to the floor of the House, they expected the Senate President to toe the line, as earlier discussed, by calling for Buhari's impeachment over insecurity in the country. But at the end of the day, the Senate President did not dance to their tune. But what we are going to discuss on this issue is that actual call for the impeachment of the President. Then secondly, we are going to look at the remark credited to a northern chieftain, Buba Galadima, in which he said that Buhari may not escape being kidnapped. And it will be recalled that the convoy of Mr. President was recently attacked by bandits. So if Buba Galadima is now saying that Buhari may not escape being kidnapped, it's becoming worrisome. We are going to look at it when we get to it. And then the third topic for our discussion today, NSC to federal government, ignore protest, face nationwide strike. Now, to discuss the issues with me today are my regular guest on the program, Shola Ajiboye. I welcome you on the program for today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Coyote, and the viewers out there. Good afternoon.
Thank you. I also have with me Sheyi Adeniyi. Sheyi, nice having you in the next room today.
Good afternoon, Coyote. Viewers at home, good afternoon.
Okay, let's start the program in earnest. And the first topic, call for Buhari's impeachment. Shola, if I may ask you, calling for Buhari's impeachment, is it the next thing to do?
Well, the call can come earlier,
yeah,
or can come later.
Okay.
No, it depends on the situations. When I think those who are calling for his impeachment may have run their patience out.
Okay.
Well, when you look at the activities of government under Buhari the last 7.5 years, only very few will agree that the man ought to have been impeached, even maybe after the first time.
Particularly on issues of security.
Because when you look at the nation today, from what he inherited as president in 2015,
okay,
it's only those who want to be economical with the truth, or those who want to stand logic by his head, that will tell me that the country is not in dire straits. Economically, socially, politically, security-wise, Nigeria is in very dire straits. Now, when you look at the economy now, look at the exchange rate today. I'm told that the exchange rate that the dollar will now exchange for 710, 720, depending on the market, whether parallel or whatever. So, and that is from 170 naira to 720 naira. It is an emergency, of course. The economic situation in Nigeria is a security risk. It's a security problem for Nigerians. Apart from attacks, the economy itself is a security threat to the citizens.
Okay.
Because you are now sentencing about 70 to 80% of the Nigerians to poverty, to abject poverty. We're not talking about poverty has rates, yes, but you are now subjecting them to abject poverty. A nation that does not have the wherewithal to exist as an export-oriented nation. Okay. So that's number. Now, people calling for his impeachment because of the security threat Nigeria is facing. Okay. Well, I want to say that maybe there are two or three factors now. They are yielding to agitations that have become so enormous by Nigerians that something has to be done. Secondly, they themselves are feeling threatened by the problems they contributed to creating. Okay, if the convoy of Mr. President could be attacked that way, if the elite brigade of guards, if you know how much it costs to train a soldier, and when I'm talking of soldiers as brigade of guards,
special force.
They are special force. They are not just soldiers, they are special combatants. They are special combatants who have been trained to defend and shoot even in darkness. So you can know the amount of the millions of dollars that it takes to train a soldier, and look at the way some of them have been slaughtered, not killed by fellow soldiers, killed by bandits. So nothing infuriates a soldier, a professional soldier, than to see his or her comrades being killed not by soldiers. I mean, it's so you can imagine the level of security threat that this country is facing. If the brigade of guards could be attacked and soldiers killed that way. So these lawmakers, like when I first heard about it, I asked, who's going to impeach Buhari? Is it the Nigerian Senate or Buhari's Senate? There should be a difference between the two. Is it Buhari's Senate or the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Because when you look at the National Assembly that we have now, I want to describe without mincing words that this is the worst National Assembly that Nigeria has ever had in the annals of its political history. A National Assembly that has abdicated its responsibilities. That is it. So it's even gratifying to know that maybe some members of the National Assembly, maybe they are just finding their conscience now to, not living a lie, that this country is sliding away. So maybe that's why they are calling for his impeachment. But I know that he cannot go beyond the noise they made 2 days ago. We go back to the chambers.
Okay, thank you, Sheyi. The call for Buhari's impeachment. How do you see this call by the Senate, by a caucus in the Senate?
Yeah, thanks so much. By tomorrow, it will remain exactly 10 months to the expiration of this regime.
Okay.
I mean, the regime of President Muhammadu Buhari. Tomorrow, because by May 29, 2023, will be leaving the office. So, and to me, yes, they can call for his impeachment, but there are other things that we need to look critically into. We are in Nigeria, and unfortunately, our judicial system is not so that independent. So calling for his impeachment. Anyway, they only try to make a statement, because as we are, like Abadiko said, president in this country as we are today, it is saddening that we can find ourselves in this kind of deplorable condition.
Okay.
The security, the security challenges, the most unfortunate one is the economy. Yesterday, like you said, $1 to naira, 710 naira, and this is a government that met $1 to naira around 120, 150 and there about there. So, and for the caucus in the Senate calling for, even they staged a walk away from the Senate, and unfortunately, the person presiding over the Senate is can I call him a firstborn to Mr. President? So you're not expecting a firstborn to impeach his father. So it cannot work. But because to tell the public, to tell Nigerians that okay, this is where we are. Yeah. Because we must know this for a fact that one of the primary aim or the primary purpose of any responsible government is the protection of lives and property. Yeah. And as we are today, nobody safe. We are only hoping that okay, this area is a bit secure and that. We are not also that sure of what can happen in another few hours. So, and for the government of Buhari to have degenerated to this level, so calling for his impeachment to me is normal. Even it is within their constitutional right to ask to call for, because now that you cannot protect us, and don't forget. the president himself has come out to tell us that, come on, I'm tired, I want to go home. So, and it shows that he's already overwhelmed. So for us to help him, Baba, you have tried at your best. Can you please step aside, let another person take it? Because we cannot leave this country, you know, for the comfort of the president to have been attacked. It's in fact it portends serious threat to the nation. So there's nobody, you know, he wants that to that level, to have gone to that level. It shows that nobody's safe. So, and for them to have, you know, ask that they want to impeach, yes, though medically they might not skate through, but nevertheless they make that statement and they tell the public that as a senator, as people representative, we made our point to know that we want to impeach this man because it's not leading us well. And once they are spoiled with head, other part of the body will not function well. So it shows that as we are today, the country is not functioning well. So that's why we have a kind of elite series of, you just don't know which one to tackle. You see the economy, you see the security challenges here and there. So I think for them, it is, to me, it's related. This have to be, they have to have come out before now to tell the public, to tell the president, okay, if you cannot lead this country, we impeach and we go. Right. Maybe if they did this for 2 years or a year ago, maybe Mr. will have, you know, tried to tighten his belt to do what is right for Nigerians.
Sheyi, thank you. Shola, like Sheyi has said now, why is it now? This thing has been happening for quite some years ago. Why is it now that the National Assembly is now coming out?
Because
are they just waking up from their slumber?
Because I've told you that we don't. You know, I said that my first reaction was that is it Buhari's Senate or the Nigerian Senate that will impeach Buhari? Okay. When you look at let's look at the immediate past Senate and now and the Senate that we have now. Is there any comparison? Could Buhari have led this country to thus far if the immediate past Senate was still in session? No. Even if they didn't succeed in impeaching him, there would have been some impact.
Yes.
But we have a Senate of take a bow and go. A Senate that will not. The Senate President said that all is there to do is to just accept whatever comes from the president. I mean, so there's no. How many times have you seen a robust debate on the floor of that Senate? How many? I mean, how many critical examination of government bills and the government requests or whatever have been done? How many times have the senators engaged ministers and other officers of government in intellectual discourse about their ministries and agencies? What kind of inquiries have the lawmakers made in terms of governance? So when you see the kind of Senate that we have, cannot just do otherwise. So, and when politicians play politics with everything about Nigeria, about their country, you see, I say play politics. When you are seeking office as a politician, you can play a lot of politics over there. But when you get there, there must be a dichotomy, there must be a difference between politics and governance. We have people who cannot separate politics from governance, and that is why we are having problems. Those people who cannot look at the economy as Nigerians, look at security as Nigerians, look at health as Nigerians, look at education as Nigerians, then what do you expect for such people? We have a Speaker of the House that is in Harvard, and so unashamedly, posting his pictures on social media. That is in Harvard. What is it? What has he done that is so that so many young men, women who have gone to Harvard, who have had distinctions in Harvard without anybody knowing he's in Harvard, and he cannot ensure as number four man, is it not? Number four man, he cannot ensure a stable economy. If the Harvard and other universities abroad, if they have been running, if the educational system here, if they have been run the way they are running the educational, will it be chance to go to Harvard? And he has the temerity to display You know, so we just have people in government. Well, they are not. I don't know the way they think. They don't think Nigerian. They still think politicians. They think politics, and they are unable to get themselves out of their cocoon. So we don't have. There's a difference between politicians and statesmen anyway. Politicians and statesmen. There are differences. Just as we have a difference between a leader and a ruler. A leader is not a ruler. A ruler just does whatever he likes. A leader cannot do whatever he likes. So most of our politicians of today are rulers, not leaders. They are politicians, not statesmen. So until Nigerians find a way of getting statesmen to administer or to administer them, then we continue to roll in one circle. So, I mean, in the days of the Awos, in the days of the Amadu Bellos, in the days of the Tafa Balewas, in the days of the Azikiwes, the days of the Nahoros, the Akintolas, even the Bolagis, the Jakande, they were statesmen. They grew from being politicians to statesmen, and that's why they had legacies. You can see their legacies today. How many governors can display any legacy? How many? Of all the governors that we have, maybe 3 or 4.
All right.
So
now
that is done.
Okay, Sheyi. Now let me ask you, in view of the present challenges that we have in this country, and the way or the lackadaisical attitude, so to say, that the National Assembly has approached the issue, will you say, do you share the opinion as Shola has expressed that Nigeria does not deserve this kind of National Assembly in view of the challenges at hand?
I think we're only picking the issue from the surface. Yes. We need to look at it very critically. Yes, the present arrangement in the National Assembly, I think it is obvious to everybody to see now that it is a rubber stamp National Assembly that anything just pass and go like that, and they only do this because of the numbers. And the leadership of the National Assembly, like I said, the president, Senate president, is like a first born to the president. So there's something you want to say about President Buhari in bad way, that you expect the president, Senate president, Senator Lawan to share from that view. So no, it won't work. So that is why it seems that the assembly is not working. Not that we have good heirs, we have good senators, fine honorables, brilliant one among them. We have, but they are just very minute. So their voice is just need to be heard. So and it boils down to the fact that not until we now get it right from the election period, they want to elect your leader, people that will represent you. Okay. So you must know the kind of person you want to. Unfortunately, I'll just pray as we go on, like I said the other time, that maybe we'll deepen our democracy more, that we'll be able to pick those that have something upstate to offer, those that they have antecedents, that we can see that this one, we know what he has used his or her own life to do before now coming to join politics or to fight for any position. Not that we now get that one. There's nothing, and even if at the end of the day, take for example that yesterday, let's assume that he now accepted to proceed with the impeachment process. I'm sure along the line he will use his power as the leader of the Senate to overrule them, to rule them out. So I know that for sure. So and they will now see what it's because by the time they want to do mago, that's why they will use eye or nail. But they want to do something very good or this thing maybe to their own benefit. They will now they will now use the electronic voting. Because they have electronic voting. But if that one is to their own benefit. Okay. But if you want to do kangaroo, it's a nail. So that is. But the present arrangement of the National Assembly, to be frank and to be, my own opinion, it's not worth compared to the previous one we had.
Okay. Thank you, Oshie. Let's now move on to the second topic for our discussion today. Insecurity. Buhari may not escape being kidnapped, coming from Buba Galadima. Shola, what's your take on this comment?
Well, I know Buba Galadima must have his reasons for saying so,
Okay.
or maybe it might be privy to certain information,
Okay.
you know. And when you look at Buba Galadima was once a very close pally, you know, a close associate of Mr. President.
Yes.
And that association preceded even his emergence as president. They have always been together, and I want to believe that he understands a lot of things that we don't know about Mr. President.
Okay.
So, coming out with that kind of a thing, it should not be treated on his face value. It should not be seen as mere politicking or coming from a politician. Because when somebody talks that way, he must have information on his stamps.
Yeah.
So when you look at the emerging, look at the emerging events. There have been series of write-ups or series of comments in the media space about the threat of ISWAP. And it seems that those threats are happening in sequential order. As ISWAP itself said, ISWAP has made it known to everybody who cares to listen, whether you believe it or not, that the agenda is to take over Nigeria. And they have been executing that agenda, precisely, even as it's like somebody who has written a script or who has prepared a table that yes, this I'm going to do it after finishing that you mark it. Look at the attack on Kuje. Before that attack, there have been 44 security warnings to government, which government ignored for reasons best known to them. And remember that somebody wrote an article that ISWAP is prepared. ISWAP is now prepared to take over Aso Rock in the next 2 months. That maybe before the end of this year. And between that time that article surfaced online and now, just 2 months, just within that same period, Kuje was attacked, and was it the convoy of Mr. President was it not after Kuje?
Yes.
The convoy of Mr. President was attacked, and now we have the bandits or whatever, or terrorists, or what you call them, now let loose. And my brother, up till now, nobody can tell how many of them have been arrested. We really heard that somebody arrested somebody. Nobody can tell whether those who are arrested or those who are re-arrested were terrorists. You cannot tell. So Nigerians, even the government security agencies, they don't even know how many of these terrorists are out there. And you now see the series of attacks in Abuja. About 2 days ago, no, it's not 3 days ago, that there was an intel that they were going to attack. They were going to the law school, Nigerian law school. Before the Brigade of Guards, incident happened, and look at the way the Brigade of Guards was ambushed. So all these things are in Syria. The Syria things now point to the fact that these people are getting close to achieving their aim. They boasted that they were going to attack, that they were going to kidnap Mr. President and El-Rufai. So, and look at Kaduna. Kaduna has never been free. It's a hotbed in the last 3 or 4 years now. This is one thing or the other. And when you look at the dramatic personnel involved in this oil crisis, it falls between the president and El-Rufai. Because they were added that they were so involved in the emergence of what is happening now, that they gave the corridor for these people to come in for the election, and they cannot, they are now finding it difficult to let them go. It's like when you now train, you allow a saw to fester, and it becomes a gangrene that can no longer be. So the problems are And it is not left for government to find a way of arresting it. Because it's like the journey, a planned journey, which began now, is happening the way it is planned. So who says the president cannot be kidnapped? It happened in Afghanistan. Did it not happen in Afghanistan or whatever? When the Afghan forces, when the Afghan rebels, you know, you are closing in one way or the other, closing on the capital, and at the end of the day, they took over. So who says it cannot happen? And these people, you know, like I said, they are guerrilla fighters. They fight on this, sport attack and go, sport attack and go. And Nigeria's situation is now compounded by the alleged, let me just use that word, by alleged complicity, you know, the infiltration of terrorists in government. There's no doubt that the government, one way or the other, agents of government or some agents of government, they are
infiltration of government by terrorists, infiltration of terrorists by government.
No, infiltration of government by terrorists. So, and you cannot dismiss that now. Nobody can dismiss it. That the way the terrorists are so emboldened to carry out their operations, I mean, there must be something. There must be an inroad.
All right. Thank you, Shola. Sheyi, Buhari may not escape being kidnapped. A president of the country. Somebody, Buba Galadima, is now saying that a whole president of Nigeria may not escape being kidnapped. Who is safe there?
You know, I want to refer us to one of the Chinua Achebe's book.
Okay.
He said in that book that when you see a woman in the middle of bush dancing and you hear any sound of a drum, you can't hear anything, but the one, you know, keep on dancing. He said it is the only woman that knows what she's sharing. So this issue of insecurity, to me, I want to believe that it is beyond what we ordinary citizens are just seeing it.
Okay.
And the only person that can give us detailed report is government, because they have everything within their powers to get information as well needed. And for the terrorists to have come out to categorically make that statement that the next person to be kidnapped is our president and the governor El-Rufai, it's so embarrassing, because in the first that statement not have come out at all. So for coming out, and we have a city president, a former general, because I could remember in one of their campaigns, Aswaju Tinubu made mention of that rank. That when the thing made reference to US, when they're having crises, having challenges, they beckoned on their generals. The generals came to rescue them when these were having their crisis. And now that Nigeria is having crisis, then 2015. So now the only person that can rescue this country is General Muhammadu Buhari retired. And here we are today. When he made just like, let me just use it as an example. He made just one problem. Now he has given us like 4 or 5 more problems. So it's we should not take away the fact that simply cannot happen, because Kuje break in the heart of the country, Abuja, and the report we had, the attack was more than an hour in the heart of the FCT. Yeah. And up to now, the only thing we had, this one has been arrested, this has been arrested. We don't know exactly what. By now, if we are to we have a kind of working system. Since that the day the attack happened, we suppose there has been a kind of update every day about the happening, what happened. But up to now, the only thing we had, this has been arrested. We don't know who has been arrested, who has not been arrested. So that's to tell us that there's something that cannot happen in this country again. And before they made that statement, they are not just making the statement just for counting as a fallacy. And for Buba Galadima to have come out, because it's part of them before he left, so he knows more about what is happening in the country. So for him to have come out to tell us, it shows a kind of warning to everybody that whatever you believe in to protect yourself, you better do now. Because once the head is picked up, what else can we do? Who is to give order? Who is to give directive? Who is to make arrest? So, for them to have come out to say it, I don't want to believe they just say it for the same sake.
Okay.
And Nigeria, if you look at us very, very critically, we're a country that we are only good in reacting to issues. After the deed that must have been done, that's when we now come out to react. We will not take steps to prevent such occurrence to happen. Okay. It is after it has happened that we now hear the chief of air staff, chief of naval staff, chief of this and we have deployed 10,000 cubic to comb the area. The day has been done. No? So, and that is why we must not just look at it that it cannot happen. They have attacked the convoy of the president. So what is again? And the convoy, because at least I've witnessed, I've seen how the convoy of president do go about. It's just not. It's not 1, 2, 3, or 4 officers or police. So for them to have embodied to that level, to have attacked, so it shows that who says even if Mr. President is on his way to maybe to his village, it might be attacked and kidnapped.
All right, Sheyi. Let me come back to Shola. It was reported that the DSS sent 44 reports to government before Kuje pressing attack. And I'm sure the same thing must have happened even before the attack on the convoy of Mr. President. Even the one that Buba Galadima is saying now, the DSS must have worked on it. Why do you think the government is treating this issue of insecurity with kid glove?
It's part of, will I call it part of complacency or incompetence, or I wouldn't know. I wonder how a government will ignore security reports. Although, of course, that is not to say that some of these security reports are also influenced by self-consideration, politics, and all that. There's no doubt about that. But I think there are standard.
There's something like a Kuje incident.
Yeah, that's what, if it is happening because, like I said, complicity. Some agencies of government, some security agents, and even personnel are complicit in this terrorist, onslaught on Nigeria. Yeah, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, lamented one time that Boko Haram is in Aso Rock. Do you think Boko Haram will just leave Aso Rock even after his exit? No. There are elements of complicity that these terrorists are working hand in hand with highly placed officers in this administration. There's no doubt about that. If 44 security reports could be ignored by a government on a particular facility that has security implications, then something must be. And at the end of the day, when the terrorists came, they spent 3 hours there. They had a field day, and of course, there are so many reports that security personnel are, mounting sentry at that particular at that facility while withdrawn some hours. Who ordered the withdrawal? So these are issues that government itself, the redo in the security apparatus of this country can only be answered by those who created that redo itself, and that is government. Abacha once said in his lifetime that any terrorist attack that lasted 24 hours without the culprits being arrested or without any concrete measures being taken has the hand of government. He was a general. He was a general in the army, so he knew what he was saying. So, my brother, the security breaches that we have been having are mostly self-inflicted. Mostly self-inflicted. So there's no amount of peppering the cracks that would. I mean, Zulu lamented twice when his life was almost cut short. I mean, he went on a visit to all these IDP camps, and he was almost killed. He was almost killed, and he had to lament that we have a company of soldiers there, and they could not even secure Baga. That the terrorists have to come all the way from maybe a neighboring town some kilometers away to attack. It was because I think another group of soldiers who are not in Bagam, who are in somewhere, they were able to respond. So in that question that there are so many, that a lot of, you have almost 1,000 troops that they could not secure Bagam up to that time. So there must be inroads, or there must have been inroads. You don't just attack Kuje prison in the heart of the capital, in the heart of the Nigeria's capital. How many kilometers away to even to Aso Rock itself? And the terrorists spent 3 hours. 3 hours. It's akin to this film that I used to watch, Assault of Prison 13. When a group of drug addicts took on, a police facility, and they spent hours there. So that is it. So if there is no complicity, if there are no third parties or whatever, or second parties, there won't be such security breaches. So what Galadima said should not be dismissed.
Okay. Now, thank you, Sheyi. Let me start by referring to what Shola has discussed. He started by quoting late Abacha that any terrorist activity that lasts more than 24 hours must have the hand of government. Do you share this opinion when we, look at the way government is treating the issue of insecurity in this country?
It's very correct. We have government under its control the DSS that give intelligence reports, the police that maintains law and order and make arrests, the NSCDC, the Nigerian Army, Navy, NIA, Air Force. So, and on a daily basis, the last thing that a governor or president must check is the security report for that day. And it must cut across, not only a particular area. Because as we speak, in each local government we have DSS officer, at least 1 or 2. In each local government we have divisional police headquarters. So they will get the information about that activity in that particular local government and make their report to the state, and the state will forward it to the Mr. Governor, and the state will report to Mr. President. So we will check, okay, in Osun, what is happening in Osun? What's happening in Kwara State? So that is if the president should do what is expected to do anyway.
Okay.
So they have everything in their control to know what is happening.
Okay.
And they get accurate information about it. Because if there's no accurate information, the person in charge, you query it. That what are you doing in that place that cannot give us? We need update there. So that is the reason why we are there. So they have everything within their control to know what is happening and to know why this are happening. And there's one thing that I'm still as an ICT person.
Okay.
This phone we are using, there's no way if you want to. There's a number attached to this. We call it IP address. Okay. It's a number.
Okay.
As you speak now, if I make any post here, if they want to check where I made the post, they can verify through that my IP address. So they will know that I made the post here at Ilawiye.
Okay.
So there is no way you can escape from that. So and these people that are even giving out information about they want to attack this or giving out video, I used to query it. But they are using one device to do all these things. Can't we track this? It's very easy. At least sometimes, it was not 2 years ago, somebody stole my phone. And I went to the police to complain. And what they required was the IMEI of my SIM number. That's the number, and I have the number. And I gave to them. So within a week, they located the phone. Yeah. So it is easy for government to know what is happening and to know these people. So it's a kind of complacency within the government that just feel like okay, we are not affected to.
All right, gentlemen, let's go over to the next topic of our discussion. NLC to federal government ignore protest, face nationwide strike. Shola, this nationwide strike is a threat anyway. Although they have just ended their warning strike. So, do you think the nationwide strike can solve the problem of ASU?
Well, if you cannot solve the problem of ASU, what else can solve the problem now? I think every option seems to have been exhausted.
Okay.
And even the government itself has run out of ideas. As long as we have this government so composed, I think I was reading what Lai Mohammed was talking about this morning, something like that, And there are so many Lai Mohammeds in this government that the government seems this government seems to have lost direction. There can be no alternative to the nationwide strike. If that will solve the problem, or even if it is solved to an extent. But when somebody is driven to the wall, what does it do? It seems Nigerians have been driven to the wall by the incompetence and ineptitude of this administration, and those who are supposed to guide track this government in government, they are just. We have a lot of people there who do not even know what their functions are in government. That's the problem that we have. Otherwise, how can a government allow its educational system at that level to be shut for 6 months? The damage it has caused to the educational system at that level, because a university, there's something people don't know about university system. When a university has a crisis, the effect is not just immediate. It's a long-term effect. Because universities are classified as beyond, it's beyond secondary school. Universities are, they are classified in terms of standard, in terms of quality, in terms of procedural conduct of examinations, assessments, a lot of things go into the university system. But we seem to run our universities the way we run our secondary school, and it has caused a lot of damages to the university system in Nigeria. You can see if a public institution like university is shut for 6 months, look at the effects that will be. Look at the academic calendar that have been disrupted. Look at the exams that ought to have been taking place. Look at research, research that ought to have been done. Look at the value system of the education itself. Look at the image that the university creates for a nation. When I was in university, the vice chancellor at that time usually travels without a passport, without a visa. The vice chancellor of the University of Lagos is recognized as, even as a president in some countries, who value what university education is. University education is an institution itself. So when an institution is treated that way, then you know the effect, the long-term effect it will have. So I believe that maybe Labour will have no option than to just and want this to total blackout on activities, so that this government will know that it has thrown Nigeria into darkness, and the solution should be, I don't know the way the government will have to find a solution. But if that is the option, if there's no other option, no, so be it.
Okay.
So be it.
All right. Thank you, Shola. See, Labour is now threatening more nationwide strike if the federal government ignore their protest. Do you think the nationwide protest is enough to solve the problem on ground?
Yes, it is enough. But you should not forget that the students are talking about that are at home for the past 6 months.
Okay.
They have parents. And if you now look at our public universities, it is only the poor that can afford to send their children to public university. You cannot see the son or daughter of minister, even the commissioner. You cannot see their children in any public. So it is only the public, and this the NSU we are talking about, threatening strike, they are parents to some children, to these students. Yeah. So they are the one feeling bearing the brunt of bad leadership that we see. So, and for me, That is the best thing. As a matter of fact, I joined them on Tuesday here in Osogbo. Because I cannot imagine seeing my sister that ought to have graduated before this year, still in the university. You are still paying for house rent, paying this and paying that. And you know, there's this saying in the legal parlance. Yeah. They call it nemo that don't call no knowledge. You cannot give what you don't have. Yeah. That is why you can now see our leader, see the House of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Now you have the effrontery to even to snap in the class at the Harvard University, posting it that you're back in the class when children of where you are driving, where you are earning your big money, they are on strike for the past 6 months, and the same government that you are running, you cannot find solution to it. So you cannot travel to Harvard. So you are not telling that you are back to no. Actually, you are telling the apologies that yesterday because the backlash was so much for him to bear. Because I couldn't imagine. I don't know. Around Kaunyo. So you are back to Harvard University. Students that is over 6 months.
They are irresponsible.
Over 6 months. I will now look at it, and I listened to ASU president 2 days ago, Professor Emmanuel. He said it that this time there is no compromise. They've shifted their grounds for a while, and based on the present demands, that there's no going back. Because even the major problem of this country is we love compromise, and that is our style. If tomorrow they announce or we just discover that they are selling fuel at maybe 250 naira, the next thing ordinary Nigeria will say, don't mind.
But it has come to a stage where
and this one is fight to finish, and I support the NSC also joining them.
Okay, now at this junction, Shola, quickly before we round up. Okay. Now, what do you think Labour should add in order to succeed in this in making the protest to succeed eventually?
I want Labour to be bipartisan. You know, they should include all Nigerians. All Nigerians are stakeholders now. Those who are still supporting the status quo are those who are benefiting from the evils. You know, I see that. I mean, there's no sane Nigerian that will want this kind of a thing to continue. There's not anybody that is still supporting this kind of era, this kind of government. It means that person should have psychiatric questions to answer. So I believe that what is happening now is that the Labour should just no more, no retreat, no surrender, no compromise. Okay. And what will happen that there must be a charter that this government must sign. That within 3 months, within 4 months, certain things will be put in place. A charter of they call it a charter of and it must be built worldwide. All the satellites in the world must be there. So that this government should sign it that within 3 or 4 months, if they are going to do this, if they don't do it,
All right. So, Sheyi, beyond nationwide strike, what do you think Labour should do again?
I think you use what you have to demand for your right.
All right.
So the last thing, I know there are many options. There's consultations. The last one is consultation, and the last thing that the NSC can do now to join ASU. And if I want to tell the NSC that joining the ASU it's not that they are joining them to help them. They are helping them because they are the one they have children at these universities. So it is better now to join them also to make sure that all what the ASU is demanding from you. And if you check it, what they are demanding is not much. It's not personal. It's not personal. It's for the progress of the university. They are asking pay for research, to do more research on order to.
How much is the one asking? How much is asking?
Okay, gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program today, Shola. I sincerely appreciate your coming. Sheyi.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for the appearance today.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Viewers at home, this is where we are going to end up the program for today. Tomorrow is another day when you join my colleague on another edition of the program in the newsroom. Until tomorrow, I am Kayode Adebayo. Bye-bye.